Who have influenced you the most in sales in general and business in particular?
I think the one person, my personal opinion, the person that's not really made for sales are people who's socially awkward. Like socially awkward people, you just not built for sales, man.
How important is product knowledge when you sell something, in roofing in particular?
I knocked doors in Atlanta one time, and I knocked on a lady door. It's a black lady. She came out. She said, "Baby, you one of the first black contractors I've ever seen coming to my door. I'm gonna give you my business regardless."
Dashaun, first of all, thank you so much for flying in all the way to Minneapolis from Florida. How's the weather? Is it hotter here?
Actually feel amazing here, man. We supposed to got a tropical storm on the way to Florida, so it's kind of nice to get out of all that rain and stuff that was coming through. So, but yeah, flight was good, man. I either fly first class or comfort, so I like to stretch my legs out, man.
Wow. So first question I have for you, you're known as a Lee Haight guy. As a matter of fact, when we scheduled this interview, your bio on social media on Facebook still was an RRCA sales manager. Yeah. Many people think that Roof Hustlers is Lee Haight's brand, and I know it's not true. Just guide me through your relationship with Lee. Are you still with Lee, or are you on your own? And who is behind Roof Hustlers? How did you come up with that brand?
So Roof Hustlers is 100% all me. We started Roof Hustlers back in 2017. That's when I first had the vision, and the brand was actually created due to a lack of training within the industry. When I got brought in, they took me out 2 days and it was like, all right, man, you got it. And I sat down and I was like, I couldn't be the only guy that went through this training experience. So I made it my duty, responsibility, and obligation to make sure any sales guy that got into the roofing industry after me never had to struggle like I did. So that's how I created Roof Hustlers. That's how the brand was built. And believe it or not, my kid's mom at the time, she was like, I don't like the name Roof Hustlers. I don't think it's gonna be attractive. And I was like, well, good thing it ain't your idea. So, I just took it and ran with it, and it's super attractive. And we just hit 4 years, May 17th. May 17th was
what
4
was
years.
What was the vision when you came up with it?
The vision was to coach and train other sales. Well, from the get-go, is to go to other roofing companies, coach and train their sales guys. That's what I said from day one, and now we actually live in that. But I just know that the experiences that I went through, I can save guys 2 years of bumping their heads when I go out and train, give them insight, perspective, because I study this thing. I don't just play around with it. I really make sure that the guys, when I go train them, the information I give them is tangible, is practical, and they can use it immediately and get results. And I trained my first company in 2020, last year, February, and trained a company, and I come home and one of the guys, they're like, hey man, Lee Haight just commented on your Instagram post. And no disrespect to Lee, because it's a lot of people in the roofing industry I didn't know who they was. I didn't know who you were either. And I was like, no disrespect, man, but who is that? Mm-hmm. And there's like, probably somebody you should know about. So I actually looked him up, did a little research on him. And in that time I wanted to sell commercial. So I bought his training package, the commercial kit that he sell. So I bought that, and then he messaged me on Instagram and was like, let's do an interview together. And I was excited because like my brand was getting momentum. I didn't really know who he was. I'm like, he looked like a predominant person. He had a pretty good amount of followers. I'm like, bet, this would be good, exposure. So we go to Naples, we do the podcast, and I'm really good at handling objections. Like I'm really good on the doors. I don't think I'm the best door-to-door salesman, but I believe I'm the smoothest. You know what I mean? My personal opinion. And we did some live objection handling, and I crushed it. And we did a YouTube video, and it took off tremendously. And he wanted to start an office in Tampa, and I wanted to help him open up the Tampa office. So me and another sales guy, my dude named Joe Finocchi, that's my dude, real good guy. We got the Tampa office started, and we pretty much helped establish our RCA brand in the Tampa area. And that's how I met Lee, because he DM'd me on Instagram, and we connected. And great dude, man, love him to death. I look at him like a big brother.
So what didn't work out? Why? Is it two personalities are too big to be together, or you wanted to do your thing, or?
I think I don't want to say that we didn't work out. The thing is he had his vision with Sky Diamonds. I got my vision with Roof Hustlers, and we did our best to like collaborate to get them together. We just wasn't able to get it there at the level that we wanted to. And then the reason why I actually walked away from the company is because the company itself, it was starting to clash with the things I wanted to do personally. And I've been in the roofing industry for 6 years, man, and I've always been able to control my time and control my money. And this year with RCA, it has nothing to do with Lee, it's just the company in general. This was the first year I felt like I really didn't control my time because I was getting materials. I was doing a lot of things that I didn't do previously into the industry. And don't get me wrong, we do sell, build, and collect at RCA, so it's a little bit different. But it got to a point to where I was going to have to run and get materials, and it was clashing with times when I will have to go record roof hustlers, and I was having to cancel and stuff like that. And after that, I just made an executive decision that it's best if I step away from RCA and just focus more on my brand and building that, because that's what's most important to me.
How did you get in roofing sales?
Oh man, complete mistake. Complete mistake. Never applied for the job, never did anything. My best friend, his best friend, we was at the bar, we was drinking, we was just having drinks, and he just saw how I could blend in with Hispanic people, Black people, white people. It didn't matter who it was. I can step into an environment and blend in. And he was like, man, I got a job I think you'll be great at. I ain't asked him what it was. I was like, I'm down, because we had a baby on the way and we didn't want to do daycare. So we didn't know how we was gonna make it work. And turns out I got into door-to-door sales, and I was able to stay home with my kids during the day, and I only worked during the evenings. And it's probably one of the best things that ever happened to me. But it's a complete mistake. I never questioned it. When he told me it was door-to-door sales.
What did you do before?
I used to work at Sam's Club, the produce department.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I always thought my thing was I was gonna make it up in retail and become a manager, and then I made it. And then I got into roofing sales, and I made $800 my first week, and it took me 2 weeks to make $600 at Sam's Club. And I'm like, this don't make no sense, man. Yeah, so
you follow the money.
Yep. And they laughed at me. I was like, man, I make more money selling roofs than working here. And they're like, you don't make no money selling roofs. So I put my 2 weeks in and quit. Wow. Yep. And then bet it all on me.
The best year in business so far?
My best year in business so far, we talking about roof sales, correct?
Yeah.
My best year in business was actually my third year. So I got paid a little bit different than most people. I got brought into the industry. I only got paid $200 per claim my first 3.5 years into the industry. So I never got
$200 per claim.
$200
no
per
commissions.
Claim. No commissions.
You have to do a lot of claims.
Yep. My first year in the industry, I filed 190 claims. Yeah.
Don't you think it's a ripoff now, looking back?
Now that I know better, yeah. So we built the brand, and people starting to reach out to me now, and they're like, man, how much you getting paid? And I'm like, I'm telling them my price structure. They're like, oh, we get 10%. And I'm like, 10% of what? And they're like, 10% of the claim. I'm like, so you telling me on a $20,000 roof, you getting $2,000 of that?
You get 200.
They're like, yeah. And I'm like, what? And I'm closing. So the way they did it was I got $200 per claim. At 4 claims, I got a $100 bonus. 6, I got a $150 bonus. At 8, I got a $200 bonus. But I was a hustler. So I averaged anywhere between 8 to 12 claims a week. So I was killing it, but I wasn't making the money that I should have been making. But my third year was the best year in the industry. I probably cleared about $75,000. Wow. But that was just all off $200 per claims and just getting bonuses. No back end money.
And you probably sold a couple million that year.
Oh yeah, I've sold $1 million plus every year except for last year. And I sold 750,000 last year, but I was on the road training as well.
What do you do now? Like you mentioned last year you did 750,000. So what's Roof Hustlers? What do you do? What's the business plan? What's the strategy? So
right now, Roof Hustlers, what we do is we go around the country and we coach and train other roofing companies and salesmen on how to do door-to-door sales at a high level. One thing I've discovered is a lot of roofing companies, not all of them, but a lot of them create what I like to call zoo lions, right? So what's a zoo lion? That's a salesman. Well, it's an animal that wake up, he stretch, he yawn, he walk to the gate. If he got food, he'll eat it. If he not, he go back and lay down. And a lot of roofing companies create zoo lions, which is salesmen that wake up and say, you got a lead? Can I have a lead, please? Please? So I go there and I try to dismantle that perspective, and I try to turn them into African lions, which is people that just wake up and go hunt every day. So I go there and I just give them a whole new perspective. I do 14 key points, what I call the epitome of a hustler, and I just give them a whole new mindset on this industry. I try to give them a new perspective on it, because most of them just look at it like a job and not like a vehicle. So we go to roofing companies, we teach them how to do door-to-door sales at a high level. Some companies don't even do insurance, so I open up the whole insurance division for them, telling them how the process go, paperwork, how they need to hire office girls to do the back end, just that whole 9 things like that. And then some of these guys, they only get deals because of the company give them leads. So I show them how to go out there and knock the environment and canvas it. I bring my script, my objection manual. I bring the book that I wrote. I bring objection flashcards. And when I go there, we do office training and we do field training. And typically when I'm done, we take them to a whole new level, whole new mindset. Like I trained a company in Georgia they call Storm Roof Systems. I think their best month was like maybe 300,000, 400,000 before I went there. After I left, their best month was 600,000. And then they called me back again for this year. After I left, they had a storm came through. They did $1 million in a month, just from all the principles and the mindset that I taught them. So we making some huge impact because I impact the heart of the company. A lot of people like to try to teach the owner. They teach the owner. But it's like the game telephone. Just because the owner heard it don't mean he can relay it to the guys the same way he heard it. So I go take care of the heartbeat of the company, which is the sales guys. And once we get all the sales guys morale up and we get them on a new level, a whole new mindset, then it's just the owner job to maintain that momentum that I created.
What if owner does not know how to sell or not willing to sell? How would you work with a company like that? Let's say owners does not have a background in sales, have a background maybe in production, always based on referrals, rely on referrals.
It's funny you say that. A company I just trained in Kentucky, United Roofing, awesome guys, shout out to them. But the owner had no sales experience. He told me straight up, I'm not a salesman. I'm a production guy. That's exactly the exact words. I'm a production guy. He's like, so I do what you must. So I just showed up and we took them in the field. We taught them how to knock doors. We broke it down in the office. We did role playing on Sunday. We just did the whole nine. And since I left, they've been on the doors like crazy, about 2-3 days a week now. Because they do get a lot of leads, but now they're out there 2-3 days a week. And I just showed them how simple it is to get out there and actually generate business. But yeah, I done dealt with companies where the owner don't sell much. But the sales guy's hungry, so it makes it a lot easier to mold them and build them and groom them and then actually get them the push that they need to go to that next level.
What's the story with the bow?
The bow tie, man. You know the sucky part is no cool story behind it. Like first day I knocked doors, no bow tie, and I'm walking around, the dude that's training me, I'm like, you know what, man, I'm gonna wear a bow tie tomorrow. He was like, really? I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna try it. I'm gonna just wear a bow tie. He was like, all right, you should do it. And I wore a bow tie the second day, and the response and the receptivity that I got from homeowners, it felt too good. So I've been wearing one every day. And as the years progress, I started getting more creative with it. So for October, I do all pink for breast cancer awareness. For Christmas, I do number of Christmas bow ties. Halloween, I bust out the Halloween bow ties. So I just try to have a lot of fun with it. And election season, I got one with Democrats and Republicans on it. Like, I just have a lot of fun with it. But me being a black man in the industry, when I first got started, I thought, I was gonna be at a disadvantage. Like, oh man, working in these white neighborhoods. So the bow tie actually makes me a lot more, welcoming. Yeah. People open the door to me. They're not like hesitant or anything, which I don't think it mattered, but I wear it and it just makes me super attractive. I've been confused for the milkman one time. Like some kid was like, Mom, the milkman here. And I'm like, I ain't the milkman, man. But yeah, the bow tie is just very disarming.
So would you say it's just something, it's a differentiator? Would you say that it helps people to strike conversation with you? 100%.
It's my indifference. It's the thing that helped me stand out from it. I don't even look like a roofer. I go to somebody's house selling and I don't look like a roofer, and most people love the bow tie. Like the women love the bow tie. And once I get one compliment on my bow tie, it's like,
your confidence level.
Oh, probably. It just it goes through the roof for the rest of the day. Like I don't even need to close a deal. I'm just like, oh, I look good today and I'm good to go. So yeah, it's like Deion Sanders said, you look good, you feel good, you play good, and then they pay good. So I just love to look good when I'm knocking doors.
And that's what many people don't realize, especially a lot of men who struggle with get attention of a girl. Yep. Like there's something magical happens. You dress different. Like you put a pink shirt. Yep. Yes, it's out of your comfort zone, but you go on the street in a pink shirt as a guy, you will get looks, you will get compliments, you will have strangers start talking to you because it's just the same with the dogs, cute dog. People with dogs are so attractive, like cute dog. We all want to talk on airplanes. Like you go on an airplane, and everybody wants to talk to the neighbor. Nobody knows how anymore because this thing.
Because of the phone, yep.
They ruin our lives. Now, when you have someone next to you wearing something like this, what do you say? Hey,
like the bow tie, exactly.
Yeah,
thank you. Even when I'm through the airport, I didn't do it today, but typically I wear the shirt with the big bow tie on it, the hat. Like I rock it everywhere I go.
What's up with that?
Yeah, and there people always like, what the bow tie mean? And then it just sparked conversations. I actually landed a deal on the airplane because of that.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did the same thing when we were flying last time. It was roofing insights, and both attendants were talking to me. He's like, hey, I just replaced my roof, and it's roofing insights. They don't know, but they see roofing, and they're just, yep, I just did the roof. What do you think about that? Or my brother in Minneapolis needs a roof. I just replaced the roof. And next thing I know, for 25 minutes, flight attendant trying to get my videographer drunk while talking about roofing projects. I'm like, can I take a break?
It is funny.
It is. Who have influenced you the most in sales in general and business in particular? Do you have a mentor, someone you follow?
I got a couple of them. So believe it or not, I tell everybody, I didn't study nobody in the roofing industry until like last year. So all of my knowledge, all of my insight, wisdom come from everybody outside of it. So some of the top people that influenced me in my life, first of all, Grant Cardone, he was the first guy that a homeowner introduced me to him because I sold a homeowner and he was like, man, you good. He's like, who your mentors? I'm like, nobody. This guy giving talent. I don't look up to no man. I don't get down like that. He's like, look up a guy named Grant Cardone. So I looked up Grant, and that's actually how Roof Hustlers got started because he said something that triggered me. He was like, every industry got a gap in it. If you could fill the gap, you could make a lot of money. And I was like, roofing industry suck at training. So that's how I started. Like, that's what really sparked it. So Grant was one of them, big influence. Eric Thomas, E.T. the hip hop preacher. Love him. I go to all his conferences. Myron Golden, which I met him because of Lee, and I'm super grateful for that. But that guy has like blew my mind on a whole new level. Just studying from him. Then you got Brian Tracy, great sales guy as well. Oren Claff, he wrote a book called Pitch Anything and Flip the Script. Study him tremendously. You know, I'm not big into the Zig Ziglars and all of those guys, but I just read the dude that wrote Never
Why
Spit
not Zig Ziglar? Is it too old, too classy? Why would you say, like, when someone says I'm not into it, it's usually something that pushes you away from that?
Yeah, honestly, it was just because I could find more modern information.
I see.
You know what I mean? Like, I was born in
Outdated.
that era. Yeah, it's outdated. And I know somebody that done took his stuff, put it in their stuff, and then just updated it. So I'd rather just read the more common things now, you know. But it's a few people like Napoleon Hill. I read his books because those are just classics, you know, phenomenal information. But yeah, just Eric Thomas, Grant Cardone, those type of guys, that's who really helped mold and build who I became today.
Since you brought Grant Cardone, follow-up question, Grant Cardone or Jordan Belfort?
I never studied the Wolf that much, man, but I love Uncle G. Big fan of Uncle G, man. I just love
Did
his.
you see an interview with Jordan
I didn't watch
Belfort?
it. Yeah, somebody told me though. I gotta go watch it. I heard it's pretty like controversial.
Watch it.
Yeah, I heard it's
I
bad.
think Wolf won, like
Yeah.
by a big shot. Cardone did not do well. He overreacted, but it's definitely good to watch.
Yeah, I heard that he called Grant for doing like some illegal things or something like that.
Not even that. It's just he was questioning everything he teaches, and Grant Cardone pretty much exposed himself that it's not that deep. Like it's he has basic ideas, but Jordan Belfort, they both alphas.
Yep.
So Jordan, he's a sales coach. Cardone wants to be sales coach and sales coach, but it's who is a better sales coach.
I think Jordan Belfort a better sales coach. I think
so.
Grant is a better marketer.
True. Good point.
100%.
How important is product knowledge when you sell something, in roofing in particular?
Oh man, that's a great question because I watched an interview with Becca Switzer, right? And she was like, she know nothing about roofing, and I'm guilty of it too because when you get into the industry, nobody don't teach you those things. They just teach you to go knock a door and sell a deal. So my first year, I filed 190 claims, and I didn't even know what a drip edge was. It took me 2 years to find out what a drip edge was.
Oh, you're gonna get a lot of hate. And by the way, comment below if it bothers you. When sales rep sells, if it bothers you, because I know so many guys like, oh, they're sales guys. But the thing is, another question I have for you, my audience, is would you hire someone who knew how to sell, did not know the drip edge, but would be bringing you business? I mean, it's catch-22. You can't be.
Those are the first 2 years. Sure. After year 2, I've made it my duty to like really learn the components, how a roof is built. So now in year 6, I think product knowledge is very important. Why? Because I'm gonna meet a homeowner that like me and they like that other guy. But the only thing that's gonna separate us is I actually know how the roofing system built. I know, what proper ventilation gonna do to your home. I know what improper ventilation gonna do to the home. I know what we need to do to replace this, replace that. The longevity of the shingles in between certain T, Owings Corner, GAF, which one would be in their best interest. So I think as you become a veteran, product knowledge is absolutely essential. I believe when you new, man, just getting your feet wet and getting
Fake
out
it
there.
before you make it.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, I'll be in the house, Dimitri, and they be like, do you replace the drip edge? And I'll be like, I think so. Let me call my boss. I would call my boss. I'm like, do we replace the drip edge? He's like, yeah, we replace the drip edge. I'm like, we replace the drip edge. But can you initial these and sign right here for me? And they'll sign the paperwork. And, you know, my first 2 years, I sold off charisma. All charisma, just people like me. So that was my biggest blessing. But I made it my duty to learn the products. And now I know about roofing, I know about tile, you know, I know about metal, I know all those things, but I made it my duty to go learn it.
And it's a great point. Sometimes we're new in business and people will read through you. Like if you come to my house and I see that you're a newbie, just like, you know, you go to a restaurant and someone comes, you know, new server comes and you can tell that server is like 2 weeks in the job and she will tell you and you ask her, hey, how's your fish? Like, sorry, I'm too new here. And we will forgive that person because you know it's new. Like we're grateful. It's sympathy. It's phenomena.
Yeah, I tell new guys that. I say, you only new once. So enjoy being new. When you go out there because once you go knock doors and you act like you're the guy, they're going to treat you like you're the guy. So I say, when you're new, just go out there and say, hey, how you doing? I'm pretty new at this. Bear with me. We're just out here letting people know what's going on. And that at least people give you grace to mess up if you do mess up. And believe it or not, that's how I got better on the doors, because people would say, oh, I like this, but switch this up. Oh, I like this, but change that up. And that's how I actually perfected my pitch, just letting people know I'm pretty new at this. But I never act like I knew about roofs when I was selling them. I would tell people, I don't know, let me call and find that out for you.
But on the opposite spectrum of that, let's talk about someone who is new but procrastinating, like afraid to go to the appointment, afraid to sell because you know, how can I people ask me all the time, how can I sell the roof if I don't know nothing about it? I've only been doing it for 4 weeks, and I see guys who have been really good at other trades like landscapers, opening roofing companies, and they just don't have a confidence. How can you build a confidence if you don't have roofing background? How did you, like, where's your confidence came from? Because you
So I just got a high level of self-belief. I believe I can do anything I put my mind to. Like I almost got in a fight with my sister-in-law because she told me I couldn't do Ninja Warrior. And I'm like, I can do Ninja Warrior. You know what I mean? And I even did the Savage race. I came third place in my Savage race. So I just got a high level of belief. But the thing that really sold me when I got into the roofing industry that helped my confidence up, the guy that brought me in, he's like, my weakest guy do 800 a week. I was like, if that's what your weakest guy do, I know I can at least do that. Wow. So I just had high level, I just believed in me. I believe selling people on me, not on the roof, not on the product, not on the company, but I just made it my duty to connect and get people to like me. So I was just going out there trying to sell myself. I wasn't trying to sell a roof. I wasn't trying to sell a roofing company. I was just trying to sell Dashaun, and I was just getting people to buy into me. And that's what actually boosts my confidence, just trying to get people to buy into me. Not so much focusing on the product, but just seeing if I can get them to like me. And if I can get them to buy from me, I only can imagine what I can sell once I actually know about roofs. You know, so I think for my people out there that's not that confidence, confidence is the memory of success. So just go back to all the times in your life when you were successful, any good wins you had in life, and tap into those memories, and then get on the doors and think about how good you felt during those times of your life, and then try to use that past confidence in the present to build future confidence.
The question though is, as a sales coach, can you teach that? Because there's so many guys, you know, myself, yourself, Lee Haight, I don't know, Delmedico, Joel Belfort, Cardones, we're all charismatic guys. Yeah. We're all go-getters. But we work with people who don't have it. Can you teach it?
You can teach it.
How can you teach confidence? You know, if you're introvert, if you don't.
It requires patience. It requires patience. It requires actually learning about people. And not. I think the biggest mistake most coaches make is they say, well, I got it while you don't get it. Well, it was easy for me.
If I could do it,
if you could do it, yeah. And that's why I'm a firm believer that you can train anybody, because I took an introvert from 1 deal a week to 5 deals a week. Mm-hmm. And all I did was teach him how to be the best introvert that he can be and not try to be an extrovert. And I'm like, bro, you can't be an extrovert. That's not who you are. But you can be very detailed. You could be on your A game. You could be on point. And we could find your strengths and we work in your strengths. And then we bring that to the door. So he's a very detailed dude. So I told him, I'm like, okay, let's focus on how we can intricate your details into your pitch. So we just started focusing on the little things for him, and then it started boosting his confidence because he was able to operate in his strengths and not trying to be somebody that he weren't. And like I took something from his pitch to this day, and he used to say, we in the neighborhood as a courtesy to the community. And I was like, man, that's good. I'm like, where you got that from? He's like, I don't know, I just made it up. I'm like, that's so, I done worked, not that it matters, but I done trained, gay salesmen. Like I done trained everybody versus most people, they only deal with the hard-nosed people. I done trained them all, women, introverts, extroverts. I mean, big personalities, small personalities. And I've been able to help them all get to a place where they're succeeding. I done trained 50-year-old pastors. I done trained 39-year-old single moms. So like I've coached a lot of people. A lot of people don't know I've been in the industry for 6. I've been training for 5. So after my first year in the industry, my company hired me to be the in-house trainer. So everybody we hired, I trained them, took them through orientation. So I've dealt with so many personalities over the years. So I do believe you can teach confidence. That's the one thing I disagree with a lot of people on. I believe you can teach somebody how to be a great salesman. I don't think you're born one. I think you can be born one, but I believe you can teach it.
Have you ever told someone that he's not made for sales? I mean, it cannot be for everyone. Like sometimes you have to face the truth, like, hey, this is not for me, or it's for everybody.
I think the one person, my personal opinion, the person that's not really made for sales are people who's socially awkward. Like socially awkward people, you just not built for sales, man. I don't care if you're quiet.
Give me an example. How?
Like, socially awkward people that's like, hey, my name is like socially awkward people.
So what do you tell them? Like, hey, sorry, brother, you have to get out.
Yeah, man, I don't think this meant for you, man. I think you might be great on the back end. I think you might be great for following up. I think you might be great for doing things like that, but I don't think you're a frontline guy. I don't think that's where you.
Have you told that to your clients?
Nah, luckily they quit before, man. They usually just X themselves out because the way we used to do it, I used to make you learn my script before I let you knock doors. So you have to come in the next day and be able to repeat it to me. And those guys wouldn't even come back in the next day, man. They already know because we get paid the money that we get paid as roofers, and I got this from my dude Clint Crow over at Storm Roof Systems. Shout out to you. I don't want to take your credit, but he said we get paid what we get paid because we deal with the 2 biggest fears in the world, which is public speaking and heights, and that's why we get paid like we get paid to go door-to-door sales.
That's good.
Nah, yeah, that's why I want to take his credit. I got to give him credit on that. Yeah, my boy Clint. Yep.
Love it. But public speaking and heights, I think the more you do it, the better you become.
100%.
Practice makes perfect.
Agreed.
Because public speaking, just like making videos, the more you do, the better you're gonna get it.
Yeah, and I've been performing since I was 10 years old. I went to a performing arts school. So I used to do monologues, I used to do acting, I used to do ballroom dancing. Like I used to do all of these things. So,
stripping?
Not that far, but we did dance though. But once I got into sales, I'm like, this is just like performing. Like my favorite thing is closing a deal at a kitchen table and the kids screaming, the dog barking, and there's so much distractions around, and I'm just locked in. Like that's my favorite time to close a deal. Just to show people I could put on a show.
Very famous, Sell Me the Pen, Wolf of Wall Street. That's exercise, everybody knows it. Definitely. What's behind it? Do you have your exercises, tricks to test people if they're good in sales? Like Sell Me the Pen or any internal test that you perform to figure out the personality. Like, how do you find that person is not going to be awkward?
That's why we make them learn the script. So I don't make nobody try to sell me anything. I done heard of that, sell me the pen, things like that. I like all those things, but if a person not good improv, because I don't think whether you're a good salesman or not, whether you can sell that pencil or that pen, I think that's improv. I think that's like, how good are you making stuff up on the fly? Because I believe once you learn your script, so that's my test. Can you go home, invest into yourself and learn this script? Why? The script is proven. That way, if I put you out on the doors and you just stick to the script, I know it will get you where you need to be in the sales process. So I don't care whether you can sell me a pencil or not. Why? Because the script is designed and structured so well that it's gonna get you in the door and get you into a house to close a deal regardless. So that's my biggest thing is, can you take time to learn the script and internalize it? Because it's just like, when you first start playing basketball, you bouncing the ball, you looking at the ball. Once you get good, you stop looking at the ball, you start looking at the defense. Then once you get great, you can see things happen before they happen. So that's why I try to teach guys, okay, first let's just learn to dribble the ball. Let's learn the script. Let's get to a place where you're at the door and you're not looking in your head. Because when you're in your head, you're not present. You're missing body cues, because homeowners say yes with their eyes before they say yes with their mouth. You know what I mean? Most people do, if you can catch those things. Yeah. So most people still try in their head. So that's my test is, can you go home and invest into yourself and just learn this script? And if you learn the script, it'll get you in the house and close
Is
deals.
it one-page script?
One-page script.
I love it because it also shows them, can they follow the process? Can they memorize?
Can you just follow
work
directions?
ethics? Yeah.
I don't care if you can sell me a pen. Can you follow directions? Because if you could fall in love with the process, I can get you the results.
Who usually cannot learn? Is it someone brand new, or is it someone who's been in the industry for years?
That's the hardest person to deal with. The guy that I got this. Oh, I know this. Oh, like the person that usually don't want to learn it because they all can. It's the guy with the big ego.
Okay. And
guy
how
that
do
think he the
you
best.
deal with that?
One thing I always did when I brought in new sales guys, whether they had experience or not, I say, listen, man, one thing we like to do deal with coachable people. I understand you got experience in the roofing industry, but I need to know you're able to unlearn and relearn all the stuff. So all the stuff they taught you at your old company, I don't care about it. I don't care what you know. If you can't come in here and be a student and be open to new information, man, I don't think you're a good fit for our team. So I would let them make their decision. If they came in and they would start talking about us, I'm like, I don't want to hear that, man. We already talked about that. You need to unlearn and relearn. So I need to teach them a whole new system because I train different than most salespeople. So I need you to be open to new information and be coachable. Because if you're not coachable, I can't do nothing with you at all.
I know you mentioned it earlier that you think you have advantage in sales because you're black. Mm-hmm. Who else has advantage and why?
Who else has an advantage?
Yeah, is it color? I know it's a popular talk now. Women has advantage.
Well, let's be honest. I think the region depends on your advantage. Okay. So, for example, we just trained in Kentucky, right? I'm with a whole team of Hispanics. They got one white guy on their team. Who you think got the advantage? The white guy. You know what I mean? We in Kentucky. Like, imagine a whole group of Mexicans, a black dude.
So is it always minority?
No, the companies I train? No. This just happened.
No. Is it I'm talking about minority who would have advantage?
Typically, even if that white guy is the minority.
Just being different.
You know what I mean? Just that different guy. But Kentucky, you got to think about it. It's homegrown, like, you know, American white people. So they way more receptive to see that guy at their door versus I knocked doors in Atlanta one time and I knocked on a lady door. It's a black lady. She came out. She said, baby, you one of the first black contractors I've ever seen coming to my door. I'm going to give you my business regardless.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I think the demographic matters. If you're in the South, maybe New Orleans, where it's a high level of black people, that black dude probably got that advantage. Now, if you like in Utah and you Sam Taggart, that white guy probably got that advantage, you know? Or if we in New Mexico and it's a group of Hispanic people, they probably got that advantage. So I think the region matters, but overall, I think the person who got the biggest advantage is the guy who the most professional. I don't think the color matters. I think the most professional is what always stands out.
Oh, and I couldn't agree more. It's the age, everything else is how you handle yourself, how you show up. The first impression matters so much.
All day.
Because you only have one shot at first impression. You fail that, you know, it's only gonna get more awkward later. Like you messed up the first impression, you're gonna spend the next hour or two, you know, to
Trying
go back,
to recover that. Yeah.
try to recover it.
And I done sold deals everywhere in Arizona, you know, Texas, like I said, Georgia, Maryland, Connecticut, and it's never affected me. I've never been to a place where I'm like, this ain't working, guys. Like, they don't like me because I'm black. Like, I've never dealt with that, man. We just fight through it. I enjoy it. It's reality, you know. When I work in Texas, they're like, oh, man, this part of Texas is racist. I'm like, let's go there. Like, I want to go to that part of Texas. I want to see if it's really racist or you in your head. Like, it's
a lot of times it's in your head.
It's usually in your head, you know, because I don't think nobody's like blatantly just gonna like be racist like that. Like some people, yeah, but knocking doors, man, I've never experienced it.
Something has to happen.
Yeah, I've never experienced it. I've been out here 6 years. I've never been cursed out, never been called the N-word, never been, you know what I mean? I've been accepted everywhere I go. So is racism real? Yeah. Do I deal with it much? Nah, not knocking doors, man. Believe it or not, the hardest people for me to sell still to this day is black people.
Oh, I agree. Why so many people fail in sales despite all the opportunities we have? I mean, every roofing business says opportunities are endless, but yet recruiting every year armies of sales guys, and huge percentage of them fail.
My personal opinion, I believe a large amount of guys fails getting into this sales door-to-door roofing industry due to the companies. I don't think it's the sales guys' fault. I think they've been sold a dream, and they buy the dream, and then they realize that the dream free, but the grind sold separately. You know what I mean? So they sold them on the dream and not the grind. And that environment, it don't provide proper training. It don't have a good culture. It don't have good accountability. It don't have, like, it's not welcoming. It's just like, hey, wear my shirt, go knock doors, go get business. And I think a lot of guys feel that. They're like, man, they don't care about us. They just want us to go get. So I think that's what causes the high turnaround rate. The company's not being a great place or a good fit for most salesmen. You know, somebody like me who just needed money, I didn't care. I just wanted to get in and knock doors and make some money. Then as I started progressing, I'm like, now I want to be around the right people. Now I want to be connected with a family. Now I want to be a part of something bigger than myself. So as I progressed in the industry, as the years passed, I wanted more than just to go sell. Because at this point in my career, you know what I mean, I get offers from everybody. And I'm like, I don't care about the money, bro. I want to know, are you a good person? Is the environment good? Is the culture right? So I think the culture and the environment of companies is what causes a high turnaround rate. I don't think it's that people not able to accomplish it. Because if you look at the solar industry, they turnaround ain't that high. Those guys ride out with solar companies for years, man, and they be like 60 deep, 70 deep. I showed the roofing companies, the biggest company I've ever trained for a roofing company was 32, which is pretty good. But the average is 5 to 7, 5 to 10, maybe 12. So, and then you meet a solar company and they got 60, 70. So I think solar done figured something out that roofing hasn't.
What's the best place to find sales guys these days?
Oh man, that's a good question. I don't think it's like no best place to find them, but I always say anywhere you go, right? Whether it's a restaurant, grocery store, corner store, you know, anywhere you go, it's that guy that's doing a little bit more than everybody else. It's that guy that's, you know, going to that, and you know, sometimes they blind and they like so content where they at, they don't think about moving on. But it's like how they found me. That's like, man, he blending in. Like he in the bar and he just not afraid to talk to anybody.
Just keep an eyes open.
Yeah, you know, so.
But if you would advertise, where would you advertise?
Probably Facebook, man. I think Facebook. I think we you know, working with Leadem, they do some amazing things, and we did a recruiting event. We had all 5 guys. You know, we just worked it like an MLM. Everybody, you know, pick people from their phone, invite them. We brought like 12 people, hired like 8 of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the best pay structure for the sales guy? That's fair for the sales guy and fair for the owner.
I done been through them all. I done did the 50-50 split. I done did the percentage, and I done did just getting paid for the claim. And if you ask me, just based on all 3, the best one is just flat percentage rate. Like just 10%, 12%, 14%, whatever you choose to pay that guy, but just from the gross. Why? Because unless you have properly trained your sales guy to generate good profit, it can come back to bite him in the butt, because this guy just know how to sell, maybe do an estimate, maybe supplement, whatever, but he don't really know how to create good profit. And not to mention, they leave out the part to where, you know, if the crew charge you for more things, that drop profit. You know, if you had to go get new materials, that drop profit. So the sales guy only seen it when he first sold it. Oh man, that's 38% profit. That's a good payout. And then the job done, and he look at it, he's like, man, it's at 20%. What happened? And it's all of the things that he don't see. So that's one of the things I'm not like so, you know, cool with on the profit split. But the gross, hey man, I sold that job, I get that 20%, you deal with that profit on the back end. There's a company up in Connecticut, Artisan Roofing, they got one of the best pay structures I've seen. They pay out based on the payout from the insurance company. So if the insurance company pay out 400 a square, you get 5%. If they pay out 500 a square, you get 6%. You pay out this one, 7, this one, 8, 9, 10. But if you generate the business, you get a 5% increase on top of whatever that percentage is. So if you self-generated it and the insurance company paid that 500 a square and that's at 8%, you get your 5% on top of that 8%. And now you have, what's that, 210, like 13% that you get on that job instead of just a flat 8. And I love that they incentivize people for generating their own business, because most companies don't.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've done 5% because that's your marketing expense. 5% is, you know, cost of marketing.
Oh, so you add 5% on top of the deal too? That's awesome.
Always.
I love that.
So we've done 10% on gross and 15% self-generated leads.
Oh man, I wish I worked for you for the last 5 years.
So we've been doing that for years, because I mean the thing is, like, and if I give you a lead, I want you to knock doors around it, you know, introduce the neighbors, whatever. So I give you one job, you're getting paid 10%. But if you go talk to the neighbor, bring a job, that should be 15%.
Yeah.
I didn't give you that lead. you hustle, you should be rewarded for your hustle.
And it's a low investment, zero investment, but a high return.
I mean, it's 5%. Like, I'm willing to pay, and I will pay 5% to my marketing department, to everything else I do, but I'm just saving. What sales guys should do? Like, let's talk about responsibility. Sales guys hate do work orders, maps, all of this, job descriptions, scope of work. They hate doing it. They hate managing jobs. Yet so many companies, restorations still ask them, no, you have to produce, you have to manage your crew. Where do you draw the line?
My personal opinion, I think you should let people operate in their strengths and what they're good at. So I think as a salesman, you should knock the doors, generate the business. Well, first of all, you should find your own neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in that. You should find your own neighborhoods. Why? Because you in the field. These guys just like winging it, just throwing you neighborhoods. And I got a system behind finding good neighborhoods. I got so good at it, I got paid to be the territory manager for my company. So I think you should find your own neighborhoods, knock your own doors, right? Adjust appointments, I'm like 50-50 on them. They're cool. You can show up to an adjust appointment because those relationships go a long way. You might meet that dude again. He might pay a roof just because he like you, So adjust appointments, signing the contract and picking up the checks. And after that, I think sales guys should be done. Don't get me wrong. I think you should show up to your build, check on the homeowner, make sure everything good. And then maybe the most you should do is put in a work order, like in the system, just type in all the measurements and all of that stuff.
What did you sell? What was the promise?
You know what I mean? Probably type in the values, whatever, get the materials. And after that, you should be done. I don't think you should have to order it. I don't think you should have to check on it. I've been heard several times, like, man, you should go to your job and count materials. I'm like, why do I got to go to my job and count materials? That don't even make no sense to me. Like, what the production got to do? So I think you'll lose a lot of sales guys by making them do more. And some people might feel the opposite, and I'm cool with that. But I know what I'm good at, which is dealing with people. And I'd rather be on the front lines doing what I do best, because we the reasons why the light's still on at that company, because we out there selling deals. So let me do what I'm good at.
Oh, great answer. In your opinion, what's the best roofing market in the United States?
Florida, hands down.
Florida?
Hands down.
Why?
Best in the state. Don't get me wrong, we had a couple law changes and stuff like that, but you got to take way more tests to become a roofer there, so it's a little bit more tedious. Like, I done talked to other people, and they're like, man, the test I ain't coming to Florida because of the test. Second of all,
I'm licensed in Florida.
Yeah, I've been doing this 6 years. It's still parts of Florida that I go knock in, and people say, what? The insurance company paid for me to get a new roof? They still don't know about it. 6 years, people still like mind blown by it. And then also we get consistent storms, and not the hurricanes, because I don't like hurricanes. A lot of people are like, oh, no, that causes devastation. That causes people to lose their lives. That causes people to lose their dwelling. Like, that's too much. I just like a nice tropical storm, maybe a nice straight line wind come through, do some damage. But Florida, the best state, man. We get to hustle 12 years. We get to, not 12 years, 12 months out the year. We might get cold in February, March, but we still can go knock. And it's not oversaturated. I had a neighborhood last year that I worked for a whole year and a half by myself before another roofing company got into it. So, don't get me wrong, I think northern Florida, like Jacksonville, people say that's oversaturated, but until you go to Texas, you don't know what it is to be oversaturated. We was knocking doors in Texas, man, hailstorm came through, we was in the neighborhood at 8 a.m, there was 12 roofers there, 12. Storm come through in Florida, you might be the only guy in that neighborhood. Like, you're not fighting other roofers. So I just love it, man. The weather, the people, the storms.
It's so hot.
It is. And this new law change, I don't think it's going to do much to Florida, man. Honestly, I think it's just going to weed out the janky roofers and the pros.
Let's talk about it. What do you think about door knocking and all of those changes that's coming right now?
Man, I love it. And I know it might sound like, well, like what, man? They kind of screwing us over. No, the reason they made these changes is because it's been people that's taking advantage of the insurance companies and messing up the industry for years. And now the insurance companies just like, okay.
So you do believe that? You do believe that contractors were?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt in my mind. My first year in the industry, the company that I work for, I won't say their name, but I would go sell a deal and people would call me back and they say, I want to cancel. I'm like, why? And they say, well, we looked up your company. We see some previous owners in jail because they was filing claims, getting checks, and not doing roofs. So I know it's people in Florida that do that. And not to mention, people that try to supplement out the wazoo, like they'll come back in at $800-900 a square, and
even more than that.
Even more than that, $1,000 a square. I done seen these things, and what people trying to do is they're trying to get a quick dollar, but what they forget is this is a long-term industry. This is a long-term business. I've been in it for 6 years, and every year we get a new market. Why? Because every year new houses get older. You know what I mean? Like now we can work house built in 2006, 2007, because now they're hitting that 15, 16-year mark. And these guys are just so focused on right now that they diluting the industry long-term. So the insurance company like, we gotta fight fire with fire. So now all they're asking us to do is, we're not allowed to solicit like an insurance claim, which means I can't go to their house and say the insurance company will pay for you to get a new roof. And technically, I don't got the right to say that. Like, I don't know if they will pay for you to get a new roof. I just know you got damage and it's probably in your best interest to get in contact with them. Mm-hmm. Now we got to provide an estimate on the front end. Now you can't sit down in front of a homeowner and give them an estimate at $1,000 a square. You can't have a 20 square roof and I told you to estimate 20,000. Somebody gonna be like, what? And you're gonna lose business that way. And then also it's pushing out the janky roofers, the pros, the people who are sharp, the people who do business the right way is gonna thrive in this new change. It's the people that did business like janky that tried to take advantage of insurance companies. And don't get me wrong, I'm not on the insurance company side, but it's like nature. Everything has to be mutual. The trees don't take more oxygen than they give out. It gotta be mutual. And right now, roofers was trying to take advantage of the insurance companies, and now the insurance like, okay, we're just gonna come back. So I like it.
What do you think about public adjusters? Because Florida has a lot of them too. Good, bad, ugly. Your recommendation with the public adjusters?
I think they call FPA. I can't think of their name. They down in South Florida. Love those dudes. It's a whole group of Hispanics. Shout out to my boys. They got great marketing techniques. But I'm a big fan of public adjusters when you need them. But I don't think you need them on every job. Sure. Why? Because if you know how to streamline this process, you can get a claim paid out in 3 weeks, 4 weeks max. But public adjusters are nice when you got State Farm coming out and they say the roof 18 years old, it's 9 damaged shingles, but we're gonna repair it. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna get a public adjuster involved because I ain't even finna fight back and forth with you. I'm just gonna let them take care of you. But I done seen some situations where it don't make sense to a public adjuster taking almost 6 to 8 months to close out a claim. And I'm like, nah, that don't make sense. So I think you got to make sure you vet them. And one of the questions that I learned that you vet public adjusters is how many of your claims go to litigation or go to law. And if they tell you a high percentage, that's not a public adjuster you want to do business with, because they must have some type of incentive with a lawyer or something. And they just sending everything to a lawyer to make things work for them. So got to watch out for them. But public adjusters, they necessary.
Can you give me a couple examples of best companies you visited? Like someone you coached, you came in, like you were impressed. Like this company was legit. Like they doing something that others don't. From recent.
I gotta think. And this I'm gonna answer that question, but I meant to add this on the best market to work in, Arizona as well. Arizona, one of the best markets as well. It's like a baby Florida.
What's so cool about Arizona?
Diversity in roofs, shingle, tile, flat roofs, foam roofs, like just so much variety. And they get those monsoons to come through, destroy stuff, and it's just, you get to work 12 months out. It's just like Florida, identical, except for they don't get all the rain, But it's a national treasure, man. Arizona, really good place. But one of the best companies I've seen that do things the right way, shout out to my guy Storm Roof Systems in Georgia. That's probably the best company I've seen as far as culture-wise. Okay. All the guys wake up, go work out in the morning together. Like they just, I've never seen such a brotherhood like I've seen at that company in Georgia, man. It's phenomenal. What
city are there?
Georgia, like Marietta. Marietta, Georgia. Yep, I think so. But a dude named Clint and Dylan, they the owners of that company. And they've created such an environment to where like these guys was willing to pack up and go spend a month in Texas to work a new storm, like just up and go for these guys. And they invest highly into them. They paid for me to come out twice. They paid for my boy Virgil to come out and teach them how to like take the proper pictures. And they just always investing into their guys at the highest level. And they really like love on them. And they got a lot of incentives for them. Don't get me wrong, they're still working on their back end and things like that, but their culture is probably the best culture I've seen, hands down. And I've seen a lot of companies. But process-wise, it's a company called Pro West Restoration out there in Arizona. Shout out to them. Shout out to my boy Greg. Shout out to my boy Mick. And they probably the best, how can I say this? Best structure. So they run their business like a MLM. So the owner of the company hires nobody. So like you come in, you hire me, we build a team, and now that guy has his own team. but everybody get rips off of the guys that they bring in. So it's a high level of investment to that person you brought in to make sure they succeed, because their success depends on your success. But as you just bring somebody in and you don't care, these guys got a lot of camaraderie. And the crazy thing about their company, they all used to be ex-drug addicts. The whole company was built from AA. The owner was from AA. He went into AA and recruited all these guys. And now they done kicked their addiction, and they done put the addiction towards roofs and just their business structure. So it's just like an MLM, and the highest you can get is 70% profit split. Once you get to the point to where you like the leader of the team. Don't get me wrong, they do a lot of stuff, but they make so much money that they like pay people. Like they got a runner, they got office people, they got back end people, and they just did their structure so nice. I like the way they built it that way.
Share some tips for door knocking for retail operation. Don't do insurance.
I like that for retail operation. So some tips for knocking for retail, believe it or not, is just like insurance, right? So we going door to door, we knocking, we saying, hey, we out here doing free inspections. And the best thing for retail going door to door, what you want to do is target old neighborhoods. So you want to do some research before you go out there, look for neighborhoods built between like, let's say 17, 20 years old, 21 years old. And then you want to go where you celebrate it, not tolerate it. So you want to step into a neighborhood, and if you're knocking for retail, hey, how you doing? We out here doing free inspections. We notice your roof is between 18 and 20 years old. Is that true? Yes, it is. Well, I don't know if you know the average roof get replaced between the ages of 15 and 18. So you right at that time. So what we would love to do for you today is just do a free assessment to see if you may qualify for some of our financing, and then show you some ways we can help you out, and just target those old neighborhoods, man, because those are the people that know they need a roof. It's just they hesitant on pulling the trigger on it. And let's just be honest, America is like sold on payments. You know what I mean? People buy nice cars because they sell you on the payment, not the car. So if you go out there with great financing options, hey, we can help you get this roof replaced at about $120 a month, $150 a month. Does that fit within your budget? Yeah. And you can sit down with them and get them closed like that. But I would say work those old neighborhoods, still offer the free inspections, and then let them know, hey, we offer financing. Have you been considering getting your roof done? I know it's getting to that age, and most people are gonna be like, yeah, we've been thinking about it. We just don't know how to. Well, we got some great options for you. We can set you up for this, set you up for this, set you up for this. And then just give them the options, and people love options, and just let them pick their poison.
The hardest objection to teach, to overcome new sales guys, is it price? Is it getting more bids? Is it?
The hardest one may be the 3 estimate one, like from an insurance side of things, might be the 3 estimates. And then got to talk to my wife. A lot of people can't overcome it. I got to talk to my wife, got to talk to my husband.
How do you overcome that?
Got to talk to my wife. So one thing I teach my guys to do, the companies I train, you got to learn to think for people. Like most people got a history of making bad decisions. So when you ask them to try to make a decision, no, I shouldn't make that decision. Let me talk to my wife. So you got to learn to think for people. So anytime I get someone, they say, hey, I want to talk to my husband. I want to talk to my wife. I completely understand. I want to talk to my wife too. But how about we do this? I'm going to just get up on the roof, see if you got some damage. If you do, I'll come back down, let you know if it's even worth letting your husband or wife, know about it. And if you do have damage, what I can do is I can set up a time where we all available, and I come back out and show you how I can help. That sounds good? Perfect. I'm gonna give you my business card. I'm gonna go ahead and go check this thing out for you. And if they're like, no, I really don't think I should do it. I said, let me ask you a question. Do you think your husband would be mad if you saved you guys $15,000? Like you think he'll be upset? Like you think he'd be mad at you if you saved y'all $15,000? I think he would thank you for that, right? So one thing I'm big on is trying to paint pictures, because human beings think in pictures, not words. And a lot of people try to word their way through deals. And I'm going to paint a picture for you. Let's give you an analogy. Let's give you a metaphor so it can make more sense to you. But yeah, that's how I would handle that. And it's a gamble on that, overcoming the one with the wife, because it's a great chance you're going to get up on that roof and she's going to call you back and say, well, I talked to my husband. He said no. But the most important thing, like I tell people, is mastering the art of getting people to say yes. As you master that art of getting people to say yes, eventually you're going to close deals. But most people don't even get to that point.
Love it. What about 3 prices, 3 estimates?
So in the event that if it's insurance based, I'm gonna say, I completely understand getting 3 estimates. That's the old way. That's the American traditional way of doing things, right? Go get 3 estimates. Now let me ask you a question. The thing about your insurance company, man, their goal is to pay you out as less as possible. Why? They're a profitable organization. They want you to pay your policy, and they want to try to pay out as less as possible. So let's say you go get an estimate for $8,000, one $9,000, one $12,000. Which one you think your insurance company gonna choose? They're gonna say, or probably the $8,000, right? But your roof might actually be worth $12,000, man. But if you go out there and get those 3 estimates, because that contractor is just trying to get the roof, he's just trying to do it for as cheap as possible. So I don't recommend you getting 3 estimates because you might be actually shorting yourself out of what your insurance company would pay. So you always got the right to choose me as your contractor. You don't have to go out there and get 3, and we can just wait to see if the insurance company decides to pay out for your roof before you go out there and get other estimates. And always be transparent with people. I say, hey, I'm gonna send my estimate to the insurance company. I'm gonna let you know it might be kind of high, right? Why? Because the insurance company want to pay out as low as possible. So if at least I send them a pretty decent estimate, at least they'll meet me in the middle, and I can help you get everything you deserve as a homeowner. And my homeowner's like, yeah, get as much as you can. Yeah, definitely. Da, da, da. But I think that's the difference between sales guys who transparent on the front end, and then that homeowner see that estimate on the back end, and they like freaking out. And I think that's what the transparency.
What about the same scenario for retail?
Honestly, I wish I can give an answer. I haven't sold a lot of retail where I had to bid for, because all my retail deals, I close them because it's a situation where that's gonna go through insurance, and then we just flipping the retail. And then they're not even shopping because I knocked on their door. So they wasn't on Angie's list searching for other people. So that's why I encourage retail companies to knock doors, because now you cutting out the competition. They only got to deal with you now and your price. Versus when you're going off Angie list and all these people, they got 5 other roofers they talking to. Now price is the objection. When you knock the door as retail, not just whether they like you. But yeah, 3 quotes with retail, man, I think it all depends, because if they trying to get quotes on retail, they just looking for cheap.
Usually actually in the retail, people want to be in the middle. Nobody wants to go for the cheapest. Nobody wants to overpay. So the goal is to find gold medium, like to figure out how to be in the middle. Because we don't like the cheapest. Like nobody likes to drive the cheapest car.
Yep.
Not everybody can afford Mercedes, but if you're kind of in the middle, in retail, it's
That's
safe.
how they do the wine too, right? In grocery stores. They do the cheapest wine, highest wine, and they always keep it in the middle. And you're like, I don't want the cheapest, I can't afford that, but I bought a Sutter home.
Yep. Let's talk about book of business for door knockers. I see it as a huge problem in the industry. I know you've experienced something similar. What advice would you give to the sales guys to protect themselves from the business owners who wants to use it as a revenue source for the business? I see it every year to thousands and thousands of companies. The moment company gets in financial trouble, all they need to do is shut off their IQ links or CRM, fire you, even despite the fact that you brought a business to them. So let's say you bring me 50 jobs and we have dispute over like whatever, like go for a drink and you have offended me. I disconnect you from your email, from your CRM, and tomorrow you don't have a job anymore, you don't have a bills anymore. Now you're disputed with me. I'm gonna strong arm you. You know, I know I owe you 60 grand, but I'm gonna say, hey, Dashaun, I'm gonna give you 10 grand and I'll take care of your jobs. Happening all the time. How can sales rep protect himself against the business owners doing that to him?
Without getting too legal, because a lawyer gonna be the best way to protect yourself. I say,
but you see it's happening.
Yeah, it's happened to me presently, and actually it happened to me at my previous company as well. So I would say, just based off experience, keep a paper trail. What do I mean by that? Before you decide to make a transition, or just even throughout the entire year as a salesman, you should keep a separate, maybe you create an Excel sheet where you keep all of your homeowners' information logged in. And then the ones that you didn't build, or that's not built yet, but they're still in the insurance process, to where you can possibly take those deals back, because it is your business. I would reach out to all those homeowners and say, hey, hopefully you like working with me. I'm in a situation with my company where they no longer allows me access to the system. I would love to still keep taking care of you. I don't know how that's gonna go with them. I just switched companies. Would you be open to, coming over with me? And if they say, yeah, you just guide them, hey, call your insurance company, let them know you no longer want that company on the check. You just want a clear check with just your name on it. And when that come back, you call me and I'd love to take care of you. But I would say log all your information, print it all out, and get paper trails of all of this stuff. Because once they lock you out, they're not gonna let you back in, man.
And it sucks because homeowners getting uncomfortable immediately too. Nobody likes it.
Yeah, I'm in a situation right now where a couple of my homeowners I didn't buy your company, I bought you.
Wow.
And now I don't, I'm on the fence. I don't know if I want to continue to work with them.
So you want to bring jobs somewhere else?
Yeah, and I don't think nothing wrong with that, because unless it was a company lead, if I generated that business, that's still my business. I don't think that's stealing from nobody, especially when you've been the only person that homeowner has dealt with for 3 months. You know what I mean? Too much. So I think you should have that right as a salesman to take your business and go with you, or that company should pay you out on that business. One of the two. But unfortunately, the roofing industry is kind of like, you know what I mean?
Why don't you go on your own, open your own roofing business? Why keep selling for other companies?
Because I don't want to own a roofing company. I want to own a coaching and training company. So that's the goal, is to continue to blow Roof Hustlers up. We want to turn that into licensing. That way if somebody say, man, I want to do training like you do, but I don't got my own content. Cool beans. We're going to take you under the Roof Hustlers brand. We're going to train you. We're going to coach you. We're going to teach you all the methods. We're going to license you and teach you how to go out into the market and generate business. We just opened up the supplement side of things. So we supplement for companies as well. And then we got the coaching and training. And then, you know, we got the online platform that we're building on, the Roof Hustlers Academy. So we just got a lot of stuff. That's my main goal, is to really turn this Roof Hustlers into a really, you know, high level coaching, training, leadership, mentorship program. And I just don't want to stress dealing with a roofing company, man. I go to enough of them and I'm like, I don't want that. You know, I wouldn't mind opening one and somebody run it and I just get paid on the back end, but I wouldn't want to be in that day to day.
I want you to ask a question, either our audience, anything you want to ask our audience or myself if it's easier. Pretty much ask a question. It's new to me. I've never had it before, but I want you to ask audience, like, what do you want? What kind of feedback do you want? What feedback valuable to you as a sales coach, or if you have any questions for Roofing Insights community?
One question to the audience. That's a good question. If I had to ask the audience one question, or you one question.
What would be valuable to you? Think about it as a, you know, public, like a survey. You can take your time.
It's a good one. One question I would ask to the audience. Would you like to see me with a breakout session at the Roofing Insights Conference in Orlando, December 3rd through the 9th? I'm just saying, would y'all love to have me put on a breakout session at the Meet You Conference? That's my question to y'all.
All right. Hustler always hustles. Comment below if you would like to meet this gentleman at the conference. If we have plenty of comments with yes, we'll bring him on. Comment away, give it a like if you like this interview. I'll see you guys in the next video.